There is a place on this planet where the rules change. It is the coldest, windiest, highest, and driest continent on Earth. A desert of ice that covers an area 1.5 times the size of the United States. But it is not the weather that makes this place unique. It is the silence. Not the silence of snow, but the silence of secrecy. Since 1959, a treaty has set this continent apart. Not owned by any nation, it is officially dedicated to peace and science, unofficially. It is the most heavily restricted piece of land on Earth. You cannot simply go there. You cannot fly where you want. You cannot dig where you please. Why? Welcome to World Story. Today, we are crossing the ice. We are looking past the penguins and the research stations. We are asking the question that history books refuse to answer. What are they really hiding at the bottom of the world? This is the forbidden continent, Antarctica's hidden truths. To understand why Antarctica is forbidden, we must first understand what Antarctica was. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral named Piri compiled a world map using fragments of older church, some dating back to the library of Alexander the Great. When this map was discovered in 1929, it caused an earthquake in the world of archaeology, because it shows the northern coast of Antarctica completely ice-free. The official timeline says Antarctica was discovered in 1820. It says the ice has covered the continent for millions of years. And yet, here is a map from 1513 depicting precise coastlines that we didn't officially see until the 20th century. It gets worse. In 1531, French cartographer Orontius Phineas drew his own map of the South. His map shows rivers, valleys, and mountain ranges flowing from a green, living Antarctica. These details match seismic surveys conducted by modern scientists, surveys that see through to miles of ice to the bedrock below. So, we have a problem. Either the ice is much younger than we are told, or someone with advanced technology was walking on a warm Antarctica, mapping its rivers, thousands of years before our civilization supposedly invented the wheel. In the 1950s, a man named Charles Hapgood took these maps to the highest authority he could find. He wrote a letter to Albert Einstein, and Einstein didn't dismiss him. In fact, Einstein wrote the foreword to Hapgood's book, Hapgood's Theory. Crustal displacement. A catastrophic shift in the Earth's crust that moved Antarctica from a temperate latitude to the South Pole almost overnight. If true, it means something was living there when it happened, and someone survived to draw the maps. If ancient maps are the evidence, then 1946 was the cover-up. Officially, Operation High Jump was a training exercise. The U.S. Navy sent 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and 4,700 men to the bottom of the world. It was the largest military expedition to Antarctica in history. Officially, it ended after 8 weeks because of bad weather, and officially, the mission commander, Admiral Richard E. Byrd, the most decorated explorer in American naval history, was brought home in disgrace. And he started talking. Byrd spoke to a Chilean newspaper in March of 1947. He didn't talk about penguins. He didn't talk about ice cores. He said this: it was a warning. The United States should adopt a policy of cooperation with other nations to prevent Antarctica from being turned into an atomic battlefield. He spoke of enemy fighters flying from pole to pole at incredible speeds. He spoke of a powerful force that had the ability to wipe out humanity if provoked. The official records scrubbed these comments. The media dismissed him as senile. But Byrd was not senile. He was a 5-star admiral. He had been the star of American exploration for 3 decades. What did he see? What came up through that ice? Was it the Nazis? German U-boats were already rumored to have escaped to the South Atlantic at the end of World War II, searching for hidden land. Or was it something else? Something that waited beneath the ice since before the last ice age. Let's leave the conspiracy theorists for a moment and look at the science. Because the science is just as strange. Between 2006 and 2016, NASA flew a project called ANITA, the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, a massive balloon dragging sensitive radio equipment high above the ice sheet, listening for neutrinos, ghost particles from the edge of the universe. Here's what they found. They found radio pulses coming up from the ice at steep angles, 30 degrees below the horizon. These signals should have been absorbed by the Earth. According to the standard model of particle physics, they cannot exist. The ANITA team ruled out neutrinos. They ruled out cosmic rays. They spent a decade checking their equipment. And they concluded, officially, that these signals are anomalous. They do not behave in any way predictable by current science. Some physicists theorize these pulses are evidence of dark matter. Others refuse to comment. But here is the question nobody is asking loudly enough. If the physics say these signals shouldn't exist, but the detectors are picking them up, what is down there? We have drilled ice cores that go back 800,000 years. We have mapped the gravitational field of the continent. But we have not explained the ANITA anomaly. Something is generating radio waves beneath the ice. Something that violates our understanding of the universe. And then there are the mountains. In 1958, a Soviet expedition crossing East Antarctica made a discovery that defies geology. Buried beneath 2 miles of ice, they found a mountain range the size of the European Alps. They named it the Gamburtsev Subglacial Mountains. Here is the problem. Mountains are formed by tectonic plates crashing into each other. The Himalayas are rising because India is slamming into Asia. The Andes are volcanic. But East Antarctica, it is a craton. Geologically stable. There are no tectonic plates crashing together. There is no volcanic chain. And yet, there are jagged, alpine peaks rising thousands of meters into the ice sheet, perfectly preserved, like fossils in amber. How did they get there? The current theory is that they formed over 1 billion years ago, during the assembly of the supercontinent Gondwana. But that raises another question. If these mountains have been buried for 500 million years, why do they still have sharp peaks? Erosion wears down mountains in a few million years. Yet the Gamburtsev range still has the profile of the Alps. The only explanation is that the ice didn't just cover them, it preserved them, freezing an ancient landscape in time, a landscape that predates complex life on Earth. What else is frozen down there? What else is waiting to be revealed as the ice melts? This brings us to the present. The Antarctic Treaty was signed in 1959. It was a beautiful idea, a continent for peace, for science, for all mankind. But beautiful ideas don't usually require military enforcement. Tourists visit the peninsula. Scientists drill ice cores. But vast swathes of the continent, specifically East Antarctica, remain effectively off limits. There are no-fly zones. There are restrictions on where you can drill. There are classified military assets operating under the guise of research. Why? If there are ruins under the ice, they belong to no nation. But they represent the greatest archaeological discovery in human history. Imagine the implications. A civilization that rose and fell before the ice came. A civilization advanced enough to map its own coastlines. Imagine the embarrassment to the institutions that told us we were alone. We have whistleblowers. We have rumors of ground-penetrating radar detecting geometric structures beneath the ice. We have photographs, grainy, disputed photographs of ships that look like pyramids pushing up through the glaciers. None of it is proven. But none of it is fully debunked either. Because we aren't allowed to dig. Antarctica is melting. We see it in the news as a tragedy of climate change. And it is. The loss of ice is destabilizing our planet, raising our seas, altering our weather. But there is another story beneath that tragedy. As the ice retreats, the secrets advance. Sediment cores pulled from the seabed are revealing the DNA of whales from before industrial hunting. They are revealing the carbon cycle of an ocean untouched by man. And one day, perhaps in our lifetime, they will reveal the ground beneath. When that happens, the treaty will face its greatest test. Will the world share what is found? Or will the nations who stationed themselves around the continent simply move in and claim it? Antarctica is the last page in the book of Earth. For centuries, we didn't know it existed. For decades, we pretended it was empty. But the maps suggest someone was here before us. The physics suggests something is still active beneath the ice. The military presence suggests we are afraid of what we might find. The truth is down there, hidden, waiting, frozen. And soon, the ice will not be able to hide it anymore. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the forbidden, subscribe to World Story and join us next time as we uncover the mysteries history left behind.